Welcome in, everybody, to the Cheap Pops Wrestling Podcast. We are back for another week. And Brent, I'm Corey. This is Brent.
Hey.
Before we get started here on episode
7. Yeah.
Episode 7 of the new revamped podcast, formerly known as No Cell Radio.
Formerly known as the Holler If You Hear Me podcast.
I like the Holler If You Hear Me one. Anyways, so before we get into packed week, I feel like every time we do this, I've missed like 3 weeks of doing this because just a lot of stuff keeps happening.
Especially this.
There's
goodness.
a ton of there's so much content filled into a wrestling week that I feel like there just hasn't been very much, there hasn't been time to talk about all of it, which there hasn't because since last week, all new stuff happened.
Oh my.
Last week we were on the heels of a terrible Raw, a terrible SmackDown.
Yep.
NXT was great. I thought AEW was okay. You had a very strong opinion.
I did.
On the other way about AEW.
I did.
And we have now this week. I feel like the tides have turned, and we'll get into all that.
Oh boy!
Including a new segment at the end of the show.
Yeah.
That I'm excited about.
Yeah. We like our segments.
I'm fired up.
Yeah.
I'm fired about the new segment. I'm fired up to talk about all that's happened.
I am fired. We've been texting probably since Thursday of last week, just every day. And I think we got more and more amped to do this week's episode every passing minute.
So before we do all that, obviously we're going to have to handle the business side of things, the social media side of things, the creative juices of the show. I will pass it over to Brent, and he is hard at work. A secret here. He is hard at work at, I'm not going to tell you what he's working on, but he is working on something very exciting to the show.
Yeah.
And we are hoping to reveal that within the next couple episodes.
Yeah.
I got to sign off on it as well. And so, but before we do all that, we're going to pass it to Brent, and he's going to run down all the different ways you can find us.
Thank you, Corey. So first and foremost, as always, love to give a shout out to our podcasting partner, Anthony, over at the Behind the Autograph podcast, courtesy of the Autograph Cave. Feel free to find him on YouTube at the Behind the Autograph podcast or check out his Facebook page at the Autograph Cave. Don't forget to give them a like and hit that subscribe button for them. Great podcast, good content. We've talked about it weeks prior. I've been a guest on the show now twice. Mm-hmm. It's just a fun place to talk about autographs and collecting. Another nerdy habit of mine. And Anthony dips his toe into wrestling from time to time. So big shout out to them for being, again, a wonderful partner to work with. In terms of finding our content, you can also find us on YouTube if you search Cheap Pops Wrestling Podcast. You can send us an email at cheappopswrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at cheappopswp. Huge shout out. We had an active day yesterday on social media. I was hard at work during Raw, giving my thoughts and my feelings, and we were getting a lot of interaction with people on Twitter. So big thanks to everyone who was interacting with us, liking our tweets, commenting on our tweets, giving us a chance to give some back and forth with you guys. That was really great. But again, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at cheappopswp, or find us on Facebook at Cheap Pops Wrestling Podcast. And when you find us on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the bell so you're notified when we are on.
Absolutely all that. Hope everybody caught all that.
Yeah.
And that is off the top of your head. I get more and more impressed by that every single time.
It sounds like a bad infomercial sometimes, though. I feel like you should be pitching OxyClean or something.
Could be.
Not a sponsor. But if they want to be,
yeah,
why not?
So hopping in, we're gonna start with the big event. Actually, it was the first event since our last podcast.
Yeah.
And that is going to be Crown Jewel. Mm-hmm. It was Halloween night / morning.
It was morning. It was 10 a.m. is when I think it aired.
Oh, okay. So Halloween morning, October 31st, it had the big rundowns of Lesnar, Velasquez. You had the tag team turmoils. You also had your Tyson Fury coming out to do wrestle, I guess, Braun Strowman. You had Hogan versus Flair, and then
not Hogan, Team Hogan versus Team.
Oh, this is in '92.
Oh boy,
and,
they wanted it.
Oh, they wanted to go, especially after Flair got the clearance to do a bomb. He was trying to sell. Like, why don't we just have one?
Woo! He was waiting. Give me 6 minutes.
And then of course the main event being the Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins.
Oh boy!
So we're gonna start at the very beginning. We're not going to do like a match-by-match breakdown, but we are going to pick out the significant ones and kind of go from there. Starting off with Humberto Carrillo, who I still don't know who he is, but he's getting a heck of a push.
Rumor has it that they want him to be the next Rey Mysterio in that sense, like the next Spanish babyface. So they're letting him go for sure.
I just have a lot of trouble with him so far. I think he's kind of boring. However, he was on the kickoff show. He won the 20-man battle royal to face AJ Styles later in the night.
Yes.
So that's where we started off on the kickoff show. Decent little filler, I guess.
Sure.
But they decided to fire us right off the bat because obviously Brock had to probably catch a flight.
Which I think he did.
Because he was on SmackDown the next night.
Well, did you hear that story? Did you hear the story? He has his own private charter that he gets now with contractually.
Even to Saudi?
Yeah. And so I'm pretty sure it was because he just wanted to get the heck out of there and go home. But then did you hear he went back. When he heard the plane was stranded, he went back and got Hogan and then flew Hogan back with him.
Just Hogan?
Yep.
That's strange.
Yep.
Why just Hogan?
Don't know.
The Hulkster didn't want to stick around?
He just grabbed Hogan.
He just call him, hey, brother, come back and get me.
Pull a Yui. He went and grabbed Hogan. Man, it's neither here nor there.
Not Flair, Hogan.
Hogan.
What was very strange.
Yeah.
What a great story. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Yeah. But first match. Huh?
Lesnar kicks us off with with Heyman against Cain Velasquez.
Yep.
We begged and begged WWE not to put the title on Cain Velasquez.
Oh, yeah.
And this is clear that it was just a big money name to draw more eyes to Crown Jewel. Because in just a little over 2 minutes, Brock Lesnar dispatches of him.
Yeah, it was like 2.5?
Yeah, it was a sloppy match. Cain Velasquez did not look very good.
Well, I heard his knee needs surgery, so he was hobbled.
I'd say that's probably so, because he did not look very good.
No, but that was the least of his worries.
Match ended with a Kimura.
Yeah.
So I'm not even really sure he could really take a whole lot of bump-wise.
No.
I was happy with it. It wasn't a good match, but it was what I wanted.
Yeah. Now, here's what made me a little nervous about that match, though, watching that, because I came, Thursday night being Halloween, I was, out doing the stupid trick-or-treating.
Sure.
And so Friday, I sat down and I watched Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
And so I watched Brock win, and instantly in my head, I go, well, shit. Because we had talked about the fact that you can't have two champions on the same show. And so in my head, I'm like, well, if they're going to have Brock win, what are they going to do with Bray? So even though I was happy with the result of that particular match, it made me nervous for the rest of the night, wondering how they were going to go about the Rollins Wyatt match, which we'll get to. But.
And we're also gonna get to this later in SmackDown, but we also were saying last week how we really hope it's not some stupid way they decided to go back. However, we'll get into that when we get to SmackDown.
Yeah. But anyway, the Brock match, I was glad that it wasn't Kane.
It was the best way to go.
It was the best way, for sure.
And so, boom, Brock's on a flight. He's probably already on a flight, getting ready to go. Apparently needed to go back and pick up the Hulkster. And so that with 2 minutes, boom, we're done. I thought that was an interesting starter match.
Yeah.
I also thought that it was a very interesting end, just a 2-minute match after all this build-up about Velasquez being the only guy that's ever slayed the beast, even though Seth Rollins has already done it twice.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the next match was the Tag Team Turmoil match. And this has a little bit of significance. First of all, it went 32 minutes.
Well, you got, 8 teams to get through?
8 teams. We both, I believe we both picked the Viking Raiders to win it.
Yep.
However, the OC
Pleasant surprise.
Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, Machine Gun Carl Anderson. Is
Big LG.
And they come out with the victory, defeating last. I believe they defeated the Viking Raiders last.
Who came out last? Viking Raiders were the last team to come out.
And so that, to me, to both of us, was a great surprise.
Yeah.
I think we even said last week we both picked the Viking Raiders, but we wouldn't mind seeing a team like the OC win. Yeah. The OC needs this kind of a push. We also wanted the revival, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So the OC win, and that's a big thing moving forward for them. I mean, they're what are they crowned, like the
best tag
team World Cup winner or something?
The tag team version.
They're the best in the world tag team.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's cool. I don't know. They could use that for like a little bit of a push to say like we're the best tag team around.
That's what they do with all those trophies. They're like strewn about for a couple weeks and then they're forgotten about.
It'd be nice. I'd like to see them do a little more with them because I think ever since they've gotten there, they didn't really know how to book them.
Yeah.
They kind of strike me as this team that could be badass, but at the same time could be kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because just naturally funny, not trying to be funny. I think they could be a really entertaining team, and I hope they push forward with that.
Right.
I don't want to skip over this because I actually thought it was a pretty good match. That Mansoor versus Cesaro. Mm-hmm. I was going to brush over this. It was 13 minutes, but I thought it was really good. I thought it was one of the better matches of the night. Right. I don't know much about Mansoor, but I thought he showed well for himself. He got the win.
Yeah. Which, was expected. You're not going to go into Saudi Arabia and have him lose.
But
was it just me, or did Cesaro look like he was literally just walking off the flight? Like, he was in tight jeans and tennis shoes, and I can't tell if that's, like, his new thing or if he literally caught a delayed flight and, like, they were like, all right, get out there, buddy, and he didn't have time to change.
I don't know what the deal is with Cesaro. I kind of feel like they just kind of throw things against the wall trying to find some kind of personality.
He doesn't need one.
He is so good.
Just be a quiet assassin.
That's really what the Swiss... He needs to be like an assassin, you're right, where he just is a badass.
Like, that's all he needs to be.
However,
it's disappointing they can't find a way to use
it. It is, because I don't know anything about Mansoor, but he showed that he can go at least some. And Cesaro's a great opponent for that.
And a solid quick match after a long one. You kind of balance out. You don't have two long ones in a row. You kind of get that moving pretty quickly.
Right.
Can I go back to the tag matches for a quick second? Because there is one thing that I'm a little bothered by. It's not the finish. I don't know if I like the tag turmoil match because it's set up for the fact that I don't know. I mean, it's not like it's not believable, but like when you have this scenario where you wrestle a match and then you're going for 7-8 minutes, you pin a team, and then a new fresh team just comes out and jumps you. It's the same routine every time, right? A team gets pinned, the new team comes out, they run down to the ring, they do quick attack, and they either make a quick pin or they wrestle for another 5 or 6 minutes. And I don't know if I like that because realistically speaking, how can you be the best tag team in the world? Like, how can you say the Viking Raiders are the best tag team in the world if they were to win and have coming out last?
Sure.
But you know what I mean? Because they're beating one fatigued team where you had a team like Rude and Ziggler that beat 3.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I like the idea of the turmoil. I'd rather see maybe a tornado tag or like a tag team battle royal. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather see something like that.
Yeah, I'd agree with
my
that.
opinion.
The turmoil, I mean, just for storytelling purposes is not... great.
Yeah, just a small gripe. I love the finish because I liked the OC one, but just, I don't know, small gripe to me about that.
Yeah, it's not great. However, I would say, there's something, I like, it's good. I don't understand it in this situation. Like, I think that if you put a face team at 1 and they have to win all the way through, I think it's a good way to build up a face team, underdog style.
Agreed.
Or you put the OC there at 1 and let them run the table all the way through.
Right.
And
with some quick pins too.
Yeah, just to show how dominating they can be.
Right.
I don't understand why they did it like this, because this way it just looks like the OC, because the OC came in 8th, right?
No, they were like 6th or 7th. So they beat a team. I think they beat 2 teams before they beat the Viking Raiders. I'm not sure. Maybe you're right. They were towards the end though, for sure. They were near the back of the pack with that.
Yeah, and so either way, it just makes it look like they won because they were at the end.
Yeah.
Which I agree. I think the turmoil match should be used to build up, almost like, and I always reference them, I know, but the Survivor Series, almost a Survivor Series match where you have to eliminate the whole team.
Yeah.
And you get, it was Team Austin versus, I mean, they've done this setup a bunch of times, but it was Team Austin versus Team Bischoff, I want to say, and it was loser gets fired. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And Teams Austin, all 4 of them got wiped out real quick, and it was 4-on-1, and Michaels was the one left for Austin's team. And it was, and I mean, this is 04, 05, so Michaels is established, he's been around forever, and it still brought that, like, crowd into it, momentum into it, like, because he started slowly, like, catching, because he was beat to hell, but he'd catch dudes, he'd catch a guy with a super kick in 1, 2, 3, and now it's 3-1, and then he'd catch another guy, and now all of a sudden everybody's behind him and fighting for the underdog, and it's a good way to build heat for either the person who finally does eliminate, which in this case I believe was Randy Orton, because Shawn Michaels fought all the way back, super kicked a guy 1, 2, 3, and everybody was going crazy, blah, 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 and he stands back up, and boom, Orton hits him with an RKO out of nowhere and ends the whole thing, and it's a massive boo fest, which either way could be great.
You're right. Did they do that with Ziggler too, when it was like Team Cena or something?
Yes. When I believe when Sting came out, when Sting debuted, isn't that how it ended?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that was the Sting debut.
A similar concept, though.
No, I agree with you. It's a great way to build, and they just kind of missed the ball on that one.
Yeah, I thought it was a weirdly booked thing.
But still, I'm glad the OC won. I'm fine with that. But
I also look at these crown jewel things. Well, I won't say that because the main event kind of goes against what I was going to say. But it's just kind of like a special event thing to me, like where nothing significant happens.
Right.
But then
this one did.
Yeah.
So,
So, anyways, up after Mansoor versus Cesaro is our other big headline celebrity, I guess, being brought in. Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman.
Oh, it was so rough.
It was terrible.
Fury is, I mean, I know he had been training and trying, but he looked so slow and so plodding. It was so bad.
It was terrible.
You would watch him, like, wait for spots. Like, he would, like, there was one time he's, like, thrown against the ropes, and he kind of, like, crouched down, like, looked up at Braun, like, you ready? Like, it was piss poor.
Well,
kudos to Braun for working with that, because I don't know how you do.
I really don't like bringing in guys. Like, at least Cain Velasquez has worked in a ring.
Yep.
And I really don't like bringing in guys who don't have any idea what to do in the ring. No. And they make it look telegraphed. They make everything. Even Mayweather was so much better than this.
Yeah.
This was really poor. It was a dumb count out finish. It made Strowman look stupid.
Yep.
It was dumb. I hated it.
Yep. Did not like that match at all.
And that's about what we thought. We thought it was going to be terrible, and it was.
Yep.
Which is not fair because I love Braun Strowman, and we both think that he deserves way more.
Yep.
By the way, did you know he's 36 years old?
I did not.
Braun Strowman's 36, and Tyson Fury is 31.
Wow, what?
He looks 50.
I would have put him at least 40.
Rough life, the gypsy soul.
Yeah.
Then
31? Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Good Lord.
AJ Styles against the previously mentioned Humberto Carrillo for the singles match. Styles went over, which he should have.
Yeah, build the OC. Build
up. Great.
Right.
And then, to me, what I felt was the most significant match of the night. Natty, I never thought I'd say it. Natty.
Whoa! Stop the press.
Natty versus Lacey Evans. And for obvious reasons, it's the most significant match of the night. I don't think people really understand how big of a deal this is.
Right.
And I thought they put on a decent little match for the 8 minutes they got.
Yeah.
It's a really, really cool moment.
You could see it in their faces, too.
Yeah, it's a really cool moment, and I remember the whole thing about this Saudi Arabia thing that they were getting heat for is like, you're not going to be able to bring any of the women because they're not allowed to do anything, blah, blah, blah. The fact that they were able to do this, have a match, I thought was pretty cool. And it was a great little moment at the end. I didn't like how Lacey Evans broke character. I wish she would have punched her in the face at the end. But
isn't she kind of a face now? I think they're trying to make her into more of a face.
How could the sassy Southern Belle be?
I know, but I think that's what they're trying to do.
It doesn't even make sense.
I know.
It's stupid.
I know.
So
I
thought it was an awesome thing, and it's really cool to see stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, kudos. I mean, you could argue like, could you brought Charlotte or someone with more name recognition, but Natty. As much as we rag on Natty in the past, like, she's been the workhorse for that division.
I did think it was an interesting choice.
Yeah, it was. It was Lacey, I think, surprised me more than Natty.
Yeah.
But if you talk to all the other women that are there, they all look to Natty as, like,
absolutely
their person.
That
you know what I mean? Like, Charlotte, I mean, what was it, the first NXT Women's title match between Charlotte and Natty? Like, tore the house down, like
Paige and Natty had
right,
a great
like everyone does not doubt Natty's ability to go.
There's no doubting.
And so kudos to her for being in that position. I mean, kudos to Lacey Evans for going out there and being a part of that, because I know it's a harsh circumstance. I don't know if you saw, Natty had a water bottle thrown her direction when she entered in. She like almost got hit with it. Like someone just like hucked a water bottle onto the ramp as she was walking out, and she like just paused and kind of looked and noticed it, and then just kept walking. Like, she was smart. She played everything exactly how she should have. I don't blame her for getting emotional being out there, because she knows what that means. Like, yeah. I agree with you. It was a really cool moment to witness and see.
Yeah. So after that was the previously mentioned Team Hogan versus Team Flair.
Yeah.
And naturally, you and I
we wanted to happen.
You and I both said how this shouldn't go,
and it
completely went the other way.
Yeah, right. We were like, if you want to do this right, here's who's going to make the pin, and here's what that's going to help do. And it literally was the complete opposite of what we were looking for.
I don't understand.
It was Roman Reigns to the rescue.
Yeah, and naturally that's how you'd see it winning. But I don't understand, if you're trying to get people over, how Drew McIntyre doesn't win this.
I know,
for his team.
Did he eat the pin? I can't remember. I feel like he might have.
I can't remember, but
sadly,
Flair took his bump. You were right.
Bang bang. He was all about it.
You know that he was like, I'm not doing it unless I can bump. So I mean, you flew Hogan and Jimmy Hart. Does Hogan just carry Jimmy Hart around in his bag?
I think so. I think so.
Like, how does that guy keep popping up?
I think everywhere? At all times Hogan has a bandana, a sleeveless T-shirt, and Jimmy Hart on.
And how old is Jimmy Hart?
Probably 80.
God, he's old. He's got to be old.
I mean,
like, hold on.
But he looks like. I mean, they all do dye jobs like nobody's business. So
76.
You would man doesn't look a day over 66.
That's incredible. So that was what it was. I don't know. I'm not happy about, once again, McIntyre not getting the push it looked like he deserved.
Right. Which then again, to refer back to earlier, in my head I'm going, because I talked about the Brock Lesnar match, and oh man, we're going to do this to Bray. And then the Team Hogan, Team Flair match, I was like, how come we don't get nice things? Like, why are we not allowed to get the things we want? And so going into this main event, I'm like, all right, we've already been disappointed a couple times. What are they going to do to really screw with us again?
It's like they need 4, 5, 6, 7 tries to get somebody finally right.
Right.
So the main event was The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. Previously, Brock Lesnar, who was just drafted to SmackDown, had won his match to retain the title, so he's on SmackDown. Bray Wyatt was just drafted to SmackDown, so going into the match, you thought, okay, well, they're screwing this up.
Yep.
However,
they totally redeemed themselves.
They totally figured it out. What should have happened at Hell in the Cell is what happened. I still don't like how much offense Rollins gets. I don't know if that's just me.
He got like, I think 8 or 9 stomps in.
Like over and over and over. No selling the piss out
I
of him.
love it. Can I just hold on? Can I give the round of applause I've been dying to give? I was so happy when Bray Wyatt won this match. Like, I was giddy. Like, I was like, thank you. And just the no sell. When this guy gets, what was it, super kicked? I mean, through the fake. I hate these dumb explosions. They're so fake. The guy lands 7 feet below where these things are exploding.
Yeah.
Pss, pss,
and why is it exploding?
And then a random box flames. It's like,
why?
What?
But
and then he pulls off the thing, and Bray's just standing there like
that. How cool of a visual!
Oh,
that was a great production setup.
Oh yeah,
because it was clearly a planned visual.
Yeah,
with them going like up to Rollins, underneath Rollins' face, and then as you go up, you see the Fiend just standing over him in the box. That was an awesome visual. I mean, that was just like. It reminded me of like horror movie like Jason or something like that.
Yep.
Like no matter what you do, he keeps coming back.
Oh, the no selling is just brilliant.
Like, that is the match that should have been taking place at Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
Hell in a Cell left such a bad taste in everybody's mouth that this almost redeemed it. It still kind of pisses me off, Hell in a Cell, but this match was everything you could have asked for to get the Fiend to the level that everybody wants him at.
One count kickouts. There was one, I can't remember what move it was. Maybe it was a curb stomp in the ring, and Bray literally just like popped up. Like it happened, and he just stood right up. Like, bam. The way, I was like, this is beautiful.
Bray Wyatt is so good with his movements, and like he took a curb stomp on the ramp, and it's the way he gets up. It's like the way he gets up is like it's like a slithering, remorphing guy standing up like it didn't even hurt me.
Right.
And it's not like he just stands up and like it's just everything he does movement wise. He's so good at the character stuff.
Oh, it's brilliant. And even like the little small things, like you said, the production side of it. Like, I know it takes a while, right? Like, they always have, like, the fade to black, right? And then, like when he was the old Bray Wyatt, it was, like, the little, and then, like, black or whatever. And so this, like, it went to black, and it was kind of long, because, all right, he's got to run somewhere.
Yeah.
But I still, even though I know that's happening, like, when he went, like, the lights came back on, and this little, like, screechy music came on, and he's just standing on the ramp, like, with the title hands. Right. Like, all of a sudden, we see him at one point hovering over Rollins, like, laughing, and then 5 seconds later, he's up there. I'm just like,
that's great.
This is cool.
That's great stuff.
I freaking love that. Like, and just little stuff like that.
It makes him feel like that character is really that, like really that this thing.
And I don't want to go this route because I think it's way too early. But when you do stuff like this, you're flirting with the same level of character as like an Undertaker. Where you start to like, oh my God, this guy might literally live this gimmick, and like that starts to be intriguing because they've always said Bray could be the next Undertaker in that sense, and doing things like this is what's going to get him there.
It is so bizarre that you just said that. It's like you read my mind. The honest to God, with this character, if you do this right and you keep it up, the thing they always talked about with the Undertaker, the WrestleMania streak, who's going to end it? Who should it be to get that massive push from it?
Yep.
They gave it to Lesnar, which apparently was Undertaker's wishes.
Yep.
However, if you do this right, and I don't know if they have the patience nowadays, they just seem to change things ADD style left and right.
Yeah.
If this character is executed like this perfectly, it could be used. You got to pick the next up and coming person who is going to be the one that figures out a way to beat him. Like that's like the cool, and that's the same thing with the Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Yep.
It's why I think Punk should have beat him at WrestleMania.
Yep.
And not Lesnar. But that's another argument in itself.
Didn't he wrestle Bray the year after losing to Brock?
Yes.
You could have had Bray do it then.
I mean,
if it wouldn't have been Punk, you know what I mean? Like you want to talk about that push. I'm hoping this is a lengthy run. Like, and I mean, like, surpassing what Kofi had.
Oh,
because Kofi was pushing, like, what, 6-7 months?
It should be longer than that.
Like, I could see this for almost a year.
Hold that bitch for a year and a half.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I like, and again, if you're wanting to make him out to be this monster character, you need to have something like that. Like, it's going to make no sense, and it's going to completely devalue the character if for a month from now you have Roman Reigns beat him.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, he's got to run roughshod.
And he's got to continue to stay this mysterious character.
Yeah, less is more. He does not need to be on every episode of SmackDown.
Right.
He needs to come sparingly. I think he needs to kind of pick his next target rather than his next target picking him. Like, the next feud that he does should be set up by, again, just like he did with Seth. He should come out randomly during a match. We should see him Sister Abigail-ing or mandible clawing whoever, and that's what sets that feud off.
Kind of like if people aren't sure if they want to mess with him,
right?
Type thing.
Right.
He picks who he's going to go mess with.
Right.
Not people like, I want to fight this guy. I like the idea of like nobody wanting to do it. Like unsure if they really even want to go down this route.
Right. You're right.
I think that's like, I think they have so many potential avenues they could go with this character that it's I'm jacked.
And you could hearken back to some things that from the night, again, like Undertaker had Hell in the Cell, right? Like that was kind of his thing. Mm-hmm. That's obviously kind of like a gimmicked pay-per-view now, but like I think back to like the Mankind Undertaker Boiler Room Brawl. You don't think the Fiend character wouldn't do well in like a Boiler Room Brawl?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like right up his alley, you know, not saying you need like another like match like you did with Randy Orton in like the house, but like if you do some kind of gimmicky matches with that character, kind of, because again, that whole torturous, tormenty, like you said, scary movie vibe type of element, think of the production side of some of those gimmicky matches and what you can do to enhance that. I don't know. They have a potentially epic level character they could create here if they do it right.
I will say one criticism of the Fiend. Why does it have to be completely red?
Yeah, I think they just go for that production side of it.
I don't like
the
it.
Undertaker had the lights coming, you know.
Yeah,
I feel like it's like that's what they're trying to do. Like that's his thing, but it makes it hard to see sometimes.
I hated it. It makes it hard to see. Like, what's the explanation behind that? Does Bray have like the only key to the electrical box to change the lights? Like, why can't we fix those?
Right. There's been like you're right. Like the Undertaker, it had a purpose, right? Like it would be dark. He would raise his hands, and it turned on. Right. This is just they just wanted.
That's just weird.
I'm not. And it made it hard to see some of the segments, especially when they went like into the crowd and stuff.
I'm not big on it. I'm not big on that.
I can see that.
So that's Crown Jewel. Overall, just a quick overall review. I thought it was an entertaining show.
Oh yeah.
You take out, well, you don't take out, but like Fury and all that. Tyson Fury was a dumb moment. Other than that, I thought it was pretty good. I was entertained by it. I think it's probably the best Crown Jewel they've had.
Yeah. Big production value, lots of pyro, lots of music, lots of fireworks. Kind of had that WrestleMania feel to it with the big screen in the back. I mean, it was cool. All around, solid job.
Okay, so that started off the week. Well,
I mean,
technically it ended the week, but
you had NXT and AEW the day before that.
That's true, and we'll go. Let's do that. We'll go to that. I did not see AEW. I will fully admit to it.
Okay, I did.
I heard that like production value wise, it was better. So I'm going to sit out the scorecard this week.
Okay,
because I can't honestly say what I thought of AEW because I didn't see it.
Okay, so I'll give a few of my thoughts in relation to the production value. A couple things that I liked is, and I commented on this last week, and I tore them apart, was the lack of, like, character building. Like I said, there's not been a lot of promos and things like that. And ironically enough, I was reading today an article where Cody Rhodes had done an interview recently, and someone brought the question to him that, is AEW just more about Spot Fest, right? Like, is it just, like, spots and matches and that's all it's about? And he said that the early editions of Dynamite were a little bit that, and he understands that, but he was trying to get people engaged in the wrestling. And now that they're a little bit out of that kind of, as he put, I think he said, embryonic stage of like really being totally brand new. Now they're going to start implementing more of the production side of things. So like Hangman Page cut a promo last week. Dean Ambrose cut a promo last week. You had this running promo with Tony Schiavone, who met Cody Rhodes at the airport and then rode in the limo with him to the contract signing, and they would cut back and forth to them. Tony would be asking Cody questions, talking about, because apparently I didn't know Tony has a long history of the Rhodes family because of WCW and all that stuff. So like he talked about stories of Dusty. So like there was more of that character side of things. Like it was the first time I'd really heard Hangman Page talk like for a significant amount of time, and it made me like, I know he's good, right? But I think I said like, well, what's his thing, right? Like now I kind of know. I'm like, okay,
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know what he sounds
kind of like
like.
a no nonsense type of like, I'm just here to right the wrong, like, you know, like, but I got that now because of how he talked. Moxley is solid, but it added to his character to have him talk. So I was appreciative of that. Again, like, and I've had some people mad at me. I just don't get Kenny Omega. I don't. I don't. I don't know. I'm trying to find a way to like really, really dig him. I mean, he's good, and I said this again. I commented back to someone on YouTube. Someone on our YouTube page said this Kenny Omega blasphemy has to stop, and I said I would take him over 85%, 90% of the WWE roster, hands down. But is he the best thing walking? I have yet to see it. The tag match for the tag titles between the Lucha Brothers and SCU was pretty solid. Nothing like standout-ish about it. Again, I kind of laugh at the contract signing because it played out kind of like a lot of WWE contract signings. The only exception was Chris Jericho surprised Cody by having Guevara and the rest of the Inner Circle out in the back, and they smashed Dustin Rhodes' arm in a limo door, and like that's what ended that segment. So it was, I guess, a little bit of a twist, but stereotypical, like back and forth. Face is worried the heel's going to disrupt it. I don't know. I mean, here's what's sad, and I guess it's a compliment as well. After Crown Jewel, after SmackDown, and after Raw, I couldn't necessarily tell you everything that happened in AEW and NXT, which I guess is a good thing, because that means, especially SmackDown, and we'll get there, SmackDown, to me, was so good this week, and Raw was better. I completely forgot about what happened at NXT and at AEW, which that's the first time since these two shows have been on against each other that's been the case. I've always remembered AEW and NXT and forgotten the other two. And this week, I was like, oh shit, that's right. NXT was before all of this.
Well, so NXT didn't have like your, I guess, like, you know, it had Walter and that guy before. I can never remember his name.
Walter wasn't on this one.
No. I'm saying like the previous weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So you had Walter and so, then you had the awesome tag match.
And then they had the tag match this week.
They did
the women's tag with the Kabuki Warriors and Dakota Kai.
That was good.
Which was good. It was a good match.
The Kabuki Warriors, man, they are good.
I'm tired of the mist already. I'm tired of it. You can't use it every time. And they're using it every time. And it annoys me.
Well, Tajiri did.
Well, but it's like, I'm all for like the heel tactics, but like, again, I've said Asuka does not know how to use it right.
So
she's too slow with it. She doesn't spray it properly. And I'm tired of it.
So So I thought the Kabuki Warriors, the women's tag match was good.
Yeah.
They had Keith Lee and Matt Riddle versus the Undisputed Era, which was good. I mean, it was good. It was a good match, but it didn't get to like the upper level.
Yeah,
of the before.
God, Keith Lee's good.
It was pretty good, and Keith Lee is incredible.
Yeah,
the athleticism, holy mackerel!
He's really charismatic too.
It's really impressive because he got pretty big spots on SmackDown and Raw.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to see that. The match that I was really happy with was Cameron Grimes versus Tyler Bate. I thought it was the best match of the night.
Yeah.
Tyler Bate's fantastic. He always is.
He's very interesting.
He is very interesting.
Does he have still that kind of like mustache machismo type thing? Because that was the name of the tag team with him and Trent Severin.
Is that Mustache Mountain?
Mustache Mountain. That's what. But it's like, they always reference the like he twists it and stuff. And
yeah, he still has it.
He's got a good little character to him.
He's good.
Yeah.
He is really good.
Yeah, and he's just damn good at what he does.
The revelation was Cameron Grimes. This is now the third straight week he's had a singles match that was an actual match.
Yeah,
and he's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were really good. Mm-hmm. It was a really good match. I still want to know more about his character. Like, what is he? I don't get it.
The entry makes you think like Country Boy.
Yeah,
but it's like the back looks like a Cracker Barrel.
Then he wears stuff like the vest and the hat. Like he's like, is he a magician?
Right.
Like what?
Right.
I don't understand the character yet, but God, he can go.
Yeah, he can.
So NXT was good. It just didn't have that over the top.
No.
Match that it's had the last 3 weeks, but it was still really good.
Right. And I'd still give it to NXT. I'd give the nod.
Finn Balor cut a great promo on.
He was so cheered, and it's hard. Like, I still have that old school mentality of like, boo the heels, cheer the faces.
It's tough.
And I know it's that, but like, he was getting ovation. Like,
he
was getting such an ovation over doing that.
Every heel is cheered nowadays.
I know.
Except for one.
Except for King Corbin.
I mean,
oh God! I mean, you gotta hand it to him. And the Miz was that at one point too.
That's true. And so I think that NXT was really good, but they had a busy week on their hands, and I don't think they anticipated it.
No. So should we get there?
So we'll go into. So we're gonna save those reasons. So we were told. So going into SmackDown, I think I even texted you this. I was like, because I had the wrong day for Crown Jewel.
Crown Jewel, yeah.
And I texted Brent at one time. I was like, how the heck are they going to get back for SmackDown? And Brent was like, well, they have another day. And I was like, oh, that's right. I'm on the wrong day.
But it's a long flight. Like, the flight would have... Initially, SmackDown members that were going from Crown Jewel to SmackDown would have arrived there with 3 or 4 hours to spare.
I mean, it's
so
just
it's still cutting it close.
It gives you more and more respect for what these guys do.
Oh God,
yeah. I'm dead after a 4 hour, not even 4. I'm dead after an hour car ride. I don't even want to move.
Need a nap, an ice pack, and a snack.
But yeah, so it was going to be cutting it close anyways. Then it comes out that, and we'll get more into this in our new segment, the Rumor Roundup, at the end of the show.
I like it.
However, we were told there was mechanical problems with the plane.
Yep.
So essentially everybody except for Brock Lesnar and most of the women.
And Daniel Bryan.
Who didn't make the trip.
He doesn't go. He refuses to go to Saudi Arabia.
Really?
Yeah. Him and John Cena, after the first, at the onset of this, they said no.
Oh, okay.
So it was Brock, Bryan, all the women.
Miz.
And The Miz. And they were like, well, shit.
And then, so we're talking stuff thrown together. NXT is flown in.
Literally last minute. They were claiming that, people were literally arriving minutes before their segment.
I think they had this plan of doing a rotating third announcer. And then thought Pat, the punter guy...
Pat McAfee.
Yeah. I think people were so entertained by him, they just kept him.
Well, so did you see initially Aiden English was out there?
That's what I mean.
And then
I think they had this idea of a rotating third person because they had Todd Phillips back out there.
Yeah.
Because he didn't make the trip.
Yeah.
And Renee Young. Neither of which are SmackDown announcers.
And then Aiden English was out there, and then...
What is Todd Phillips' role now? Is it Todd or Tom?
Tom Phillips.
Tom Phillips.
Shows you how good he is.
What's his role now?
Is
he just 205 Live?
Is he 205 Live?
Is he 205 Live? That's a real demotion.
He got really demoted.
I do.
But he wasn't good, though.
I love Vic Joseph. I think he's great.
Vic Joseph is
amazing.
And
I really like the guy who got F5'd.
Dio Madden? Yeah,
Dio Madden.
Big. Holy shit.
I'm sure he was a wrestler.
Did you see him stand up to Brock?
Oh, he was
I was like, wow.
And then he got the hell beat out of him, which is perfect. That's exactly what should happen.
Better than the gym.
I used to
Paul's line. Oh, my God.
Oh. Okay, let's keep on track here. I used to love when Lawler would stand up for JR when people want to mess with him. I love the announcer who's like, hey, I'm not going to let you push me around. And Dio did that, and then he got his ass kicked, which he should.
We're getting I love it. I love when we go off the rails.
He's a freaking commentator. He should get his ass kicked. And so...
Pat was in jean shorts.
And this is all Raw. We're not even supposed to be covering this yet. But anyways, so...
Pat McAfee.
Yeah, Pat McAfee's out there in a cutoff and jean shorts. And he's good. He's entertaining. He's funny. And so they're doing the show, and Trips is running it with Bruce Pritchard, I'm sure, back there. And because I know Bruce didn't make the trip because he was on his podcast and said that he wasn't there. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, we're talking an obviously thrown together show, but it was the best show, by far the best SmackDown of the last 6 months.
Oh my God.
It was so good. I mean, they had Baszler and God, what's her name? Didn't Shayna wrestle on it?
No, Rhea Ripley and Tegan Knox.
That's it. Yeah.
Shayna Baszler, the Australian version.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley and Tegan Knox.
Yeah, they had
Battle
Rhea Ripley.
Fire and Desire.
Yeah, and that was a cool little...
Ciampa came out on Miz TV.
And I love Tommaso Ciampa's character.
Oh.
It is exactly... I mean, it is the coolest baby face that there is. He's just nuts.
It's almost like it floats to that like Stone Cold territory.
It is.
Of like, I'm so cool and I know it, but you love me for it.
I don't want to be cheered.
And I'm don't give a shit.
I'm not here to be cheered. I'm here to kick people's ass.
Yeah.
And I'm here to get my belt back.
Yeah, and again, he showed why he's so good. Him and The Miz, I thought, had a good match.
There's a point that I don't think you saw it, and I didn't see it at first either until I was watching it back and saw this on Twitter.
Hot take.
Just to show how great he is at his character. So,
okay.
Anyways, so then they have, and Keith Lee's out there.
Yeah.
Baszler
did come out. She attacked Bayley.
Thank you. I knew she was on the damn show.
She didn't wrestle, but yeah, she attacked Bayley.
And so they're just showing like this, and like they're kind of hinting at a little bit of like not a takeover, but like a Survivor Series is going to be about like NXT showing like that they belong. Because NXT like they're coming in and they're not doing it like, oh, we're here to fill spots. We're here to take the show over.
Yep.
So whoever is left from SmackDown roster, we're going to take them out. Because they were didn't they beat somebody up backstage?
I think they did.
And they beat up like Carmella and Bianca Belair.
Bianca Belair beat up Carmella and Dana Brooke. Yeah. And then we'll just get straight to it. The main event I haven't felt like this about wrestling in a long time. Oh.
The sheer announcement of the match backstage gave me like goosebumps.
Oh. Gave me more than goosebumps.
with Triple H like going back there and being like, was like, oh well, I got a guy, and
yeah,
and the whole thing is just like, the whole thing was set up beautifully. The Buffalo crowd delivered with the boom and the Adam Cole baby. I was always worried about that once he reached the big things. I thought the crowd on Raw sucked because they weren't very loud.
Horrible. That's how I put it on Twitter. Well, somebody talked about it and I liked it.
Yeah.
The crowd on Raw was pathetic. Shame on that crowd.
But Daniel Bryan and Adam Cole was the main event. And something I don't think that happens unless Triple H and Bruce Pritchard are in control.
Right.
You get 25 minutes of Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan.
I think, was it you that texted me? I can't remember which one texted first, but we both noticed the time that was left on the episode, and we were like, oh shit, they're giving them like 20 minutes to go at this. And it was
it was good.
Oh man. Well, and we talk again production value, right? And again, I don't know whose hands were in all these pots, right? Whether it was Bruce, whether it's Triple H, but if you want to just look at the setup and production of the setup, right? Like you said, this backstage moment with Triple H and Daniel Bryan. One, you're already playing on a layer there because you have this past history with Triple H and Daniel Bryan, right? And everyone that knows wrestling knows that, the whole B-plus player, right?
Right.
So you have that whole tension that's getting the crowd riled up. Then you got Sean lingering in the background, right? And Daniel makes a little challenge of like, maybe you need to come fight me right now. And he's like, I'm not going to fight you. And then as you see him talking, you see Sean.
Do they purposely keep teasing me?
Yes. I love it too. Because you see Sean unzip his jacket.
This is the second time.
Take it off.
It's kind of cold there.
And everyone's like, and he goes, it's freezing. What am I doing? And it was like so brilliant.
And Triple H's like, not him.
Yeah. And then Cole walks in and it's just like, oh my God. And everything from the entrance, the boom. I love the boom. The Adam Cole baby is great. The boom to me is even better. And I'm like, if you didn't think that man was a star, like if you're like, yeah, he's an NXT guy, like there's no way you could not see that 20 minutes and not think that man is a bona fide. I
hate how they cheer him. He is like 15, 20 years ago. He is booed out of the freaking building because he is this swarmy, cocky ass heel.
Yeah.
And I hate how they cheer him.
But it's so because we're old school like that. It is so hard to not be like, this guy's so cool.
He is really good.
And I mean, the match was like hard hitting, like the chops they were delivering back and forth. And again, I love the extra layered elements. You had Triple H and Shawn sitting at ringside, and every time Daniel would do a move. He did that. What's it called? Like a Mexican surfboard or whatever, where he like stands on the guy's knees or whatever. He was looking at Triple H as he was every move Daniel made.
I honestly thought they were
Triple H and Shawn.
I'm so happy that they gave a clean finish.
Yes,
that is Daniel Bryan putting over Adam Cole.
The Panama Sunrise is a great move. I forget how cool it looks.
It's
the last shot's whatever. It's almost like a Kinshasa, just from behind. But the Panama Sunrise to set it up
so awesome.
Is freaking cool. I was in 7. Give me that 7 more times.
It's good.
Kudos to all of them and like you said, the clean finish was so important.
Yeah,
because again, they didn't do that on Raw.
Yeah, they failed.
They gotta protect old Sethy boy.
Yeah.
But I just I was in heaven over watching that 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
It was the best 20 minutes I've seen on SmackDown.
Thought for sure Shawn Michaels was going to super kick Cole and have a schmage finish. I thought for sure he was going to super kick Cole or Daniel Bryan.
I'm glad he didn't.
I thought he was going to turn or super kick Bryan and just have a crap finish. But no, they did it. Went over clean. It was beautiful. I loved every second of it.
And it's a win-win for NXT because, again, their ratings have been down. And so all you're doing, because we know, we're not stupid. While we watch NXT, there are some people that just watch the 2 quote-unquote main shows. And now you've introduced them to all these new people. You've helped them all look good.
This can only help.
And it's only going to help because if you don't see Adam Cole wrestle Daniel Bryan and go, well, shit, I want to see what this guy does every week, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And now you're going to have more eyes on what NXT is doing. And it was such a well put together. Like, it reminded me back, and it's not the same thing, but when the Nexus invaded, it had that feel, like just that excitement of like, oh my god, I don't know what's going to happen, and I love that.
I like how they're doing it.
Yeah.
So before we go to Raw last night, my point of Ciampa and how great he is character wise. So he keeps saying like, just wait, Goldie, Daddy will be home, and then on the previous one he said, Goldie, Daddy will be back soon. He's got to go to war first, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's all about that title. So at the end, when Triple H is giving his speech about, firing the first shot,
which is a great promo. Triple H is good on the mic. Can I just say that?
Triple H is fantastic.
He fired me up. I was like, and did you love the allusion back to the DX start?
Yeah, you go.
I was like, oh, that's what I was waiting for him to tap his veins like he did when he called out X-Pac. I was like, he's doing it. Like, and then he went right and clicked Shawn Michaels. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is amazing.
So when it's because. It's not because, and I think the reason I love Cole so much is because he has some Shawn Michaels in him.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to say he's as good as him in the ring.
Not yet,
but he has some definite Shawn Michaels in him.
He does.
However, Triple H is giving a speech at the end of the show saying NXT's fired the first shot, Raw, SmackDown, let's see what you got, blah, blah, blah. And the entire NXT, well, not the entire roster, but everybody they brought is in the ring surrounding him. Like, they're like one big happy family.
Swerve Scott was in there.
If you watch back...
I'm going to want to watch back now.
Tommaso Ciampa is standing off to the left. He does not take his eyes off of Adam Cole in that title the entire time they're in the ring.
Wow.
And I was like... And somebody pointed out on Twitter, and I was like, holy shit. They're like, look at the character working on Tommaso Ciampa. He doesn't smile like the rest of them. He's not like clapping, cheering along NXT. He is literally standing there, staring at Adam Cole from across the ring the entire time.
That is beautiful.
And it's like, I was like, well, maybe they're just misinterpreting it. I watched it like 6 times. He is legit just staring at Adam Cole.
That is beautiful. Like, that is absolutely brilliant.
I mean, that's what it's about. That's how you get it.
Yeah.
And like, I wish, like, they almost wish they would have drew attention to it a little bit. Not like they got to break it up or anything, but like put a camera on him and then show like Cole or something, just to show. I mean, because it's so it probably went unnoticed by almost everybody.
Yeah, I would have never known. Now I want to go back and watch it.
I didn't see it, but this person on Twitter saw it, and I was like, "Holy crap!" I was like, "That is like some old school great stuff."
Yeah.
Like he truly doesn't care about this whole like NXT making a name for himself.
He just cares about Goldie.
That's all he cares about.
That's brilliant.
It was beautiful.
That is absolutely brilliant.
So I'm gonna end with that. It was about. I mean, I love that moment.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'll pull it up for you. Don't worry. And then last night was Raw, where they did, and we're gonna run through this pretty quick,
right?
Because we're running out of time. But Raw was good last night. I thought it was good. I thought it was an entertaining show.
Yeah, even the way they handled the Brock Lesnar situation. This kind of like, again, like where... I mean, okay, so let's also cover the fact that the way Brock left SmackDown was bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Such bullshit.
That is...
We were afraid it was going to be a stupid end, like something dumb was going to be the way to get him off the show, and they did exactly that. He quit SmackDown and blah, blah. The only thing that saved it was Paul Heyman, because Paul Heyman's promo...
Oh, that was fantastic.
Do you think he has a bet with someone in the back to how many times he can say the word bitches?
Probably. Something.
He is vicious on the microphone, but he's like, Brock can do what he wants to do because he's special, so he's quit SmackDown, he's here on Raw, what are you going to do about it? Da-da. And he just like pops up randomly, just literally assaulting anybody that doesn't tell him where Rey Mysterio is. So I liked that. I just hate the way he's now on Raw. It's a bullshit way.
I thought the whole thing with Brock destroying everybody, Heyman promo... I thought all that was really cool. But yes, that to me was, we booked 2 champions on SmackDown.
Right.
We need Brock to go back.
Right. We got to figure it out.
But we have no idea how to do it.
Right.
So we're just going to do it.
Right. I would have rather almost Paul been like, I have a little stroke when it comes to Raw. Like, allude to the fact that you're running Raw. Would have made more sense.
Anything would have made
Get your boy on your show. You know what I mean?
Anything would have made more sense.
But I like the way they had him on there. Like you said, Dio Madden got his ass kicked. That was great. Paul Heyman's line about they're not going to resuscitate you when you die on air again. Right. I was like, my God. Jerry signed off on that. Like, Jerry didn't care. But I was just like, oh, man. I mean, just pure gold.
So, I mean, it
was good overall. It was a good
show. And then we thought they were doubling down on Adam Cole. Just to put him in the spot, though, is a big thing.
Sure. And I love the whole thing. Again, Triple H has all the layers, right? The connections. You have the whole B-plus player thing with Daniel Bryan. Now he's kind of confronting Seth. We had him confront Seth, like a year ago, and Seth was like in the doldrums. The Authority, like, you have these layers with Seth. He's trying to inspire him. And then you're like, oh, my God, Adam Cole's getting another main event match with another top guy, and they gave him almost equal time. Like, it was about... I mean, I think it was a little bit less, but it hovered around 15 to 17 minutes.
And it was good.
Solid.
I just wish they wouldn't have ended on schmaz finish.
And such a, I mean, it wasn't even like all that great. Like it was like, what was it? Roderick Strong came out and like grabbed Seth Rollins' ankle.
It was pretty
and
weak.
then like Bobby Fish jumped in the ring and attacked him, and like that was it.
Yeah, it
I
was
was like,
pretty weak.
that's the best you can come up with.
It was pretty weak. And then I do love how NXT is like, you know, you got like the women's segment where I was talking about that. Becky and Shayna. That was fire.
That was great.
That was outstanding.
Kudos to Shayna, because I don't know, I didn't always think she was that good on the mic.
Yeah.
But like that moment, just like that subtlety of like, I'm going to take your chair, Charlie. And she just like sits down. I was like, whoa, this is like, because those two almost had that Rousey feel. Like, you know, like they're two legit badasses and they're just kind of like sizing each other up.
Yeah,
I was
thought
digging
there
that.
was some really good lines, like Shayna was saying, I'm not Ronda Rousey.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, Becky saying, you know, the fact that you're here shows me that you got a little doubt in the back of your head like Ronnie did.
Yeah. That was,
that was
good.
Great
That was
stuff.
really good.
I think it's kind of weird that Bayley's an afterthought.
But kudos to her character, because, you know, she talked about that on Twitter. She like called them both out on Twitter. I was like,
really?
hey, good for you.
I mean, they both basically said, like, I'm going to keep my eye on her. But
right.
I'm coming for you. Like,
right.
It's kind of like she's the second thought. So, setting up Survivor Series, you have the 3 tag teams, Revival, Undisputed Era, and Viking Raiders.
That could legitimately be match of the year.
I think it could
if you
be
do
fantastic.
that right, my lord, that could be amazing.
They are,
and they know it too.
They are doing a triple threat match at Survivor Series, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
we're going to have to do a watch party, I think.
We might have to do a Survivor Series watch. We usually do Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, but we might have to do a Survivor Series.
I think we're going to do a Survivor Series watch party. Anyways, and then the triple threat match between the 3 women.
Yeah.
Shayna Baszler,
yep.
who I really wasn't that big of a fan of, but man, that promo almost turned me last night. That was really good.
Yeah.
Shayna Baszler, Becky Lynch, and Bayley, which kind of I thought was setting up for Cole, Lesnar, Fiend. However, it doesn't look like it's not going to happen because Lesnar's in a match against Rey Mysterio, which I don't know why.
I don't get it. Someone's going to come out and save the day.
I don't get it.
Someone's going to come out and save the day.
Who?
Or he's just going to get absolutely brutalized.
Who? Another Hispanic
John Cena
MMA fighter?
So I saw something on Twitter. They said the last time Ray was like decimated by Brock Lesnar, John Cena came out and like won the title next. I was like, oh shit, here we go. Like,
hey, Super Cena, baby.
Super Cena.
If it was a full-time return, I'd sign off. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't know what Cole's going to do.
I don't know.
I don't know what the Fiend's going to do.
No.
But there's this feel of it going. Maybe that could be. It could be like Cole's going to lead an NXT team versus a SmackDown team that cannot be led by the Fiend.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
No, it cannot. It cannot. And maybe have like a Raw team led by Rollins in there too.
Yeah.
Maybe have Bryan be the leader of the SmackDown.
Maybe
team.
that's what it'll end up being.
Right.
I mean,
but then you won't even be. I heard a rumor match that they're going to try to do the 3 mid card titles, so it'll be like AJ versus Nakamura versus Roderick Strong too. I heard that's a rumor.
That'd be cool.
So you can't have even Undisputed Era on that NXT team.
Yeah, so that's going to be weird.
But you would have like Keith Lee,
Riddle,
you'd have like Keith Lee, Riddle, and all that.
Ciampa,
Dijakovic, all those guys.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a bunch of different ways you can go.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed that we weren't going to get Brock, Fiend, Cole. That does kind of seem like a more bigger deal match.
Yeah.
Even though Survivor Series is a big 4, that's kind of like almost that is a WrestleMania match.
Right. Brock versus Fiend would be a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
So I'm really curious to see where this is matches. Survivor Series already looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, those 2 matches that we just named are going to be great.
Yeah.
Are they still doing takeovers? I thought I read they're still going to do takeovers.
As far as I know, they are.
Which is more than okay with me.
Yeah, those are always great.
So a lots of stuff going on there, and I think this is the smartest thing WWE's done a long time is not just letting NXT trying to survive on its own, being this new wrestling show. However, I like that they're integrating it with the other 2 promotions, trying to get more eyes on them. Because I think that's kind of what they need is more eyes. I did see a random clip there. I don't know when it was, but Cole is cutting a promo on like Rollins and somebody in Full Sail, and he like says, and it's old, it's a throwback, but he goes, "You know what I think you're pissed about, Seth? The fact that everybody," and he goes, and I mean everybody, says that NXT is so much better than anything you guys do." And I don't know when it was or where it was, but I'd like to kind of like tie into like what's going on with all them. There's just there's so much potential to be built with these NXT guys coming in and girls. It's really exciting.
Yeah. And that'll be a slow burn. Have some stuff linger to like Royal Rumble too.
Yeah.
You know, like don't just one off all this stuff. Like, like you said, if you're going to integrate this as like a third legit brand, let some of these things linger to some of the other big pay-per-views.
Sure.
You know? Like,
absolutely.
The days of the slow burn are long gone, but you can bring them back and make it really something.
Absolutely.
You know? So.
All right, so we are running short on time. We got into those things. Got after
well, worthwhile. I mean, this was the most excited I've been for an entire week of
really
wrestling.
Cool stuff.
How long?
I'm fired up for tomorrow, too.
Yeah.
So we are going to go ahead and jump into our last segment, which is our Corey's
new segment. Kudos to Corey for this one.
I had a creative idea.
You did.
So it will be. This is going to be a weekly thing, and we're just going to go ahead and dirt sheets can be good, they can be bad, they can be filled with a lot of crap.
We're going to talk about one of those today.
So we are going to do a weekly segment we call whoosh.
Nice. We need that sound effect. We need to get in there.
The Rumor Roundup.
Nice.
Where we're going to go ahead and we're going to scour the different dirt sheet sites, trying to find out a couple, or not trying to find out, but talking about a couple talking points of different rumors that are out there, give our thoughts on what it could be, and if we think it's crap or not.
Yep.
So, Brent, you go ahead and lead that off.
All right, so the first, kind of like a rapid fire, a little fun one here. First one is the Saudi issues. There's obviously rumors going around after Crown Jewel that there was mechanical issues with the plane, which led to the SmackDown and Raw rosters, respectively, not making it back to the United States in time for SmackDown. But then there was also the additional rumor that there was stuff going on with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who had yet to pay Vince McMahon for even the first Crown Jewel. So you'd owed Vince like somewhere of like $300 million or something like that.
Yeah.
And when Vince cut the feed apparently to the live feed of Crown Jewel,
that was how Vince answered.
Yeah, the Crown Prince decided to like basically say we're going to leave them stranded here and like we're going to say it's mechanical issues. So do you buy it? Do you not? Do you think there's mechanical issues? Do you think this was a legit issue?
I think it's pretty much been confirmed that there was some kind of issue with
the Crown Prince.
Yeah, I mean, there's been multiple performers that have come out and said, "I'm never going back." Vince is flirting with dangerous territory with this. Yeah,
this is bad news. This is like, if you're still that willing to protect him, you know what I mean? Like,
I also read that they just signed on for more.
Yeah, something's not right with that.
For more Saudi Arabia,
they need
events.
to get out of that.
I think that something happened with Vince and upset the Crown Prince, and Vince had to smooth it over because something bad happened, and that's why we got the awesome NXT filled SmackDown we got. So thank you, Crown Prince.
Maybe you think Trips was the year of the Crown Prince?
I'm going to show my ignorance. Is the Crown Prince like the president of Saudi Arabia?
That's a really good question because I'm ignorant too. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. So I mean,
he's obviously important.
He's in charge of something.
He's in charge of something.
So he shut down everything. Yeah, and then apparently Vince had to go clear that up.
Yep.
And then they flew home. But it sounded pretty sketchy there for a little bit.
Yeah. Now, the next rumor kind of connected to this is that apparently on Monday Night Raw, there was a rumored, and this has been a big one the last day or so, there was a rumored, like, staff, I don't want to say staff meeting, but, like, production and talent meeting, and basically it was, like, a situation where Vince was like, all right, there's mechanical issues, let's get past this, because he understood some of the talent was upset. Dave Meltzer had apparently reported that, like, Randy Orton had kind of, like, said a quick comment, was kind of jokey about it. Rusev apparently might have talked. But then there was this big thing that, like, Seth Rollins, like, stood up and kind of gave this big rah-rah speech, which if you saw on Twitter, Seth Rollins like adamantly denied it, called Dave Meltzer a liar. And then apparently like a couple hours later, Dave Meltzer actually retracted his statement, saying it was false. So I don't know. I keep hearing these things that there was a meeting. Everyone isn't necessarily saying that there wasn't a meeting, but then they're saying that like Seth didn't talk. I don't know. So, I mean, do you think Vince would actually try to like clear that up and again protect the prince, or do you think we should just buy the retraction as is and realize like this didn't happen?
I think my guess, total guess, would be that the meeting was not like trying to sell mechanical issues, because I think everybody kind of knew. I think it was more probably like, hey, we want to keep this as in-house as possible.
Yeah.
Don't be commenting about it, blah, blah, blah. Obviously the crap about Seth Rollins was made up. And if you listen to any of these podcasts that like Conrad Thompson does with Bruce Pritchard and Bischoff and JR and all these guys, they all have pretty much universally stated that Dave Meltzer's full of shit. Constantly, he just makes stuff up and then hopes that something sticks. I think that's probably pretty. I think somebody probably gave him some bad info and he ran with it.
Yeah.
I don't really know what he reported Rollins would have said.
Right.
But I think it's kind of a much to do about nothing type thing. I think it was just kind of like, hey, let's try to keep this as in-house as possible would be my guess.
Right. But yet Meltzer's so respected for some reason. I'm not sure why. The next couple rumors we're going to get to aren't necessarily like really dramatic. They're more just like random things that are intriguing. And
possible.
Yeah, and this one was actually intriguing. This one's a rumor that Randy Orton, who is apparently a big fan of the Revival, along with us, we are huge Revival fans.
Yes, we are.
Scott Dawson's mom frequently favorites our tweets.
Beautiful.
She did. She favored like 2 the other day.
Did you ask her to get on the show?
I did.
Okay.
I got no response on that.
Okay.
But, Dolly, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on. But anyway, so apparently Orton pitched an idea to Vince about being in a faction with the Revival, or just at very minimum working with them more. They even kind of had that playful, like, combine, like the rated RKO. They had like the FTRKO, know, type of thing. And apparently Vince said no and then sent them to different brands. So what would you think about that? A little Randy Orton Revival faction.
I wouldn't have liked it, just because I think the Revival's a top team, top guys.
Yes, they are.
And I think Orton's kind of your filler. That's kind of where he is in his career. He's kind of your filler. He can use him to fill spots for if you need like a main event type person or upper card type person to hold a spot. But I think he's kind of to the point where he's a little stale. So he needs... So, I mean, maybe this would have helped, but I think that the Revival's like a top team that they just kind of should be on their own.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Like, I would actually say at this point the Revival might be more over than Randy Orton. So then you guys think, like, does it really make sense to have someone like Randy leading someone like them? Usually you create a faction to build certain people. Now, if there were other people within the faction, right? Like, again, looking at, say, like the Inner Circle in AEW, you have Chris as the head, which would be like Randy. You have formerly LAX, which would be like the Revival.
Is that who that is?
Yeah, that's LAX from
It's not
TNA.
Hernandez, is it?
No, it's not.
Is it the second
it's the
pairing
other,
of LAX?
the second. Like,
the younger guys.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say Homicide.
It's like it was like the younger group.
Okay, I was going to say Hernandez is like 55.
Yeah, no, it's the younger one. So like you would need like a Sammy Guevara type, like, so if you threw somebody else in that mix, like another young up and coming heel, it would make more sense. But just the 3 of them, it doesn't serve a purpose for the Revival because you're not getting any sense of a rub from Orton. Because, like you said, he has gone stale, and I think it was a smart move to send him to Raw because it refreshes him with some new feuds and new talent.
I think it would be cool to get him in like and not make it obvious and not like a second coming, but almost a full evolution.
Yeah.
Of like, now he'd be the main stable guy, even though in Evolution Triple H was still on top, but like now he's the elder statesman of it, and he would kind of lead this younger group, like with the tag team, like the Revival, and then another younger heel character.
Yeah, almost like with a legacy, just like more people. Yeah,
something like that
sure.
would be cool. And I don't like that saying Orton's gotten stale, but I just feel like the character has. I don't like it because he's so talented and he's so good.
Yeah.
And you've said 100 times how much Randy Orton's your favorite character ever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not that we're down on Randy Orton. We love him, but there's just I think that the writing has let him down more than anything.
Oh yeah, and there's ebbs and flows with a person and character, and so
it's not like he's just randomly gotten worse.
No. It's just I don't think he's had the right matchups in terms of like who he's feuding with, and like you said, what the writing and the production team has been doing for him.
Yeah.
So, no, I see that. This next one, I'm going to save. I have one here listed. I'm going to save that for the end because this one's related to Survivor Series. So we'll go there first because I think the other one deserves to be last because it's very random. Talk about Survivor Series. We know and like talk about the NXT takeovers. One of the big takeovers that they have is War Games. And recently on, I think it was the last episode of NXT, William Regal said that there's going to be a women's War Games match at the next takeover.
Right. That's already been announced.
But now there's a rumor that there might be a War Games match at Survivor Series. So I know we talked about this a little bit pre-taping. Where do you stand on having a very NXT thing on a main show like that and then going and doing it later on another show?
I said before I'm not a big fan of War Games. I don't really like them. I think it's kind of a jumbled mess.
I don't get the purpose of it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a jumbled mess. I don't understand why it's made to like end or whatever, a feud or whatever. Like it's not like a Hell in a Cell to me. It's kind of just blah, honestly.
Yeah.
So they are doing it. I think it's pretty safe to say there will be a men's one somewhere in there. That might be where they're headed with like an NXT and a SmackDown team or something, or a Raw team. That could be where they're actually headed. Yeah. I think it was kind of subtly hinted at by Ciampa by saying, "Don't worry, Goldie, I'll be back. I'm going to war," or something like that. I think it was kind of hinted at.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not big on it. I think it would be okay. Like I think it'd be kind of cool to have like NXT have their thing. I just don't know if War Games is it.
Right. I mean, but it seems like, sadly, that's the only thing they do kind of lay claim to.
Right.
I mean, outside of Stellar Takeovers.
Well, yeah,
but
they brought it back. So.
Right. Like, it's the only thing they really have right now kind of is like their gimmick. You know what I mean? So, it's, I don't know. I mean, I feel like they'll lean that way just because if they're having a women's one at some point, they got to throw the men's one in there, and they might just say, well, let's do it Survivor Series. So.
Is that still... War Games is 2 rings inside a cage, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This last rumor is very interesting, and it kind of, we were talking about this before we started recording.
Depends on who you ask.
Because I feel like I don't know, it's going to be rushed. So there's a rumor going around that Dominic, the son of Rey Mysterio, who I had heard had already been slightly training to be a wrestler. Like, I don't know if his dad was working with him or somebody, but he had been slightly already starting the process of training.
Yeah.
And now there's rumor that he is going to begin training at the Performance Center starting in January of 2020 because they would like to get him ready to team with his dad at WrestleMania 36 in Tampa, Florida, which would only be a whopping 3 months after he would start training.
Yeah.
So... what the hell? I don't know. Do you care? Do you want to see Ray? I mean, I know you already said you don't understand why Ray's facing Brock Lesnar. Do you have even a bigger question mark over why Dominic and Ray would be teaming together? And, like, who the hell would be their opponent? Like, where in the scope of WWE storylines does this make sense?
I don't think it does. I don't understand why we have to have Dominic.
It's just a rumor. Again, it's just a rumor.
Yeah, but we've been headed for this for a while.
Yeah.
I don't understand why like Dominic is like this necessary thing that we need.
Right.
If I'd be a little more excited about it if he'd shown like an ounce of charisma when he'd been on, but he has a weird look.
Yeah, he does.
He's not overly charismatic.
No.
He didn't show like a natural anything really.
Yeah, no.
It's not that big of a deal to me, and I'm not that excited about it, but
yeah.
Maybe he'll surprise us. Who knows? Ray's great. I know you're not a big fan, but Ray's always.
Well, I like Ray.
Oh, you do?
No, I do. I mean, I'm not like obsessed with him, but I mean, he's great. I mean,
I like Halloween Havoc, like 96, 97, all those cruiserweight matches in WCW. That type of stuff. That's the Ray I fell in love with.
Right.
With like matches with Malenko, Jericho, and Guerrero, and Psychosis, and all those cats.
His stuff with Eddie was brilliant.
The stuff with Eddie was great. Mysterio is great in ring. He always has been.
Yeah. But it's not going to do anything to put him with someone like his son that's mediocre. And I know they love their WrestleMania moments. You know, you got to kind of jokingly say like, shit, if you're going to have Snooki wrestle at WrestleMania, like,
hey,
why not?
She did a back handspring.
Why not dominate?
She did a back handspring. Right?
You know, but it's just, I'm with you. Like, I don't necessarily get it. I don't necessarily know why we need it. I don't know who you're going to wrestle against. I don't know.
It's just not.
My God, are you planning to draw this feud out with Brock all the way till the? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it. What are we going to have?
Right.
We're going to have Sean train his kid?
Right.
Right. Like, I don't get it.
I don't know. Unless this Ray's send-off. I don't know. I hope it's a rumor that does not prove to be true, but we know WWE well enough to know they love that type of shit.
Oh, it'll happen.
So it's going to happen.
It's real.
But
it'll happen.
I guess I'll just wait and see as to who they pair them with, I guess.
All right. Well, I'm not big on it, but
yeah,
it's going to happen, so we better get ready for it.
But hey, look at that. First ever rumor roundup. Thank you. In the books.
Went pretty long tonight.
We did, but we had a lot to talk about. We had a lot of good stuff to talk about.
We did. Remember we used to go like really long?
I think we had a couple episodes that neared the 2-hour mark.
I think they were longer.
We've gotten more efficient in our days.
Oh, man. God, how did we used to record that long?
I imagine having to edit that.
All right. Well, that was the Cheap Bob's Wrestling Podcast,
yes.
Episode 7 in the can.
In the can. Don't forget to check it out on YouTube by searching Cheap Pops Wrestling Podcast. Check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Cheap Pops WP. Check us out on Facebook at Cheap Pops Wrestling Podcast. And don't forget to send us an email with questions, comments, concerns, compliments, whatever you want at Cheap Pops Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com.
And go check out our podcast partner, Anthony, over at the Autograph Cave. And, God...
Behind the Autograph podcast.
God, it always gets me.
I know, it's all right.
The Autograph Cave always sticks with me.
It's a catchy name. That's why. Right? It's catchy.
It always sticks with me.
Yeah, it's catchy.
But yeah, make sure you go check out what he's got to offer over there on the Autograph. Really cool stuff, cool stories. Brent's been on there twice, talking about just different autograph chasing moments. Graphing, baby.
Graphing, baby. That's right.
So yeah, that's it for us.
Yep.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Brent, and we will see you next time. This has been an edition of the Cheap Pops Wrestling Podcast brought to you by Brent and Corey at CheapPopsWrestling.com. Cheap Pops!